Hello, everybody, and welcome to He Said, She Said with the McQueens. Um, Quentin, Sonya. All right, so last week we covered a topic about having a mate that treats the person that they're sliding with, cheating with, having an affair with better than they treat their mate. And if they have kids, treating their other person's kids better than they treat their own kids. So that was a pretty decent topic, wouldn't you say so?
It was.
Yeah, my husband had a lot to say about his past. All the
Macaroni.
things he's done. So I thought this week, because something I really never noticed, my husband noticed it more than I did. But a lot of people really do reach out to us or him or me separately and say that they are hoping and praying for a relationship like ours. And one thing I've always thought about Q and I is we're extremely genuine. We don't put on one way in front of people and then get behind closed doors and treat each other horribly or anything. What you see is what you get all the time. And so I just thought we would recap our relationship. And my husband had no idea what this topic was, but I promise at the end of this episode, we'll talk about next week's episode, what's going to come. So I was on my walk this morning, and I actually walked almost 5.5 miles this morning, which is really good for me at this point of my life. So anyway, I was thinking after I listened to my Bible about my relationship with my husband. And we were in a serious conversation on Saturday night. And the way the conversation ended was just so positive and it was beautiful. If we would have had that same conversation a couple of years ago, it wouldn't have been like that, at least for me. And so I thought we'd share some of us with other people, especially people who say that they are praying. I mean, I've literally had a couple of my friends just ask me, how did you do this? Help me do this, because I have to have a husband like you. I have to have a husband that loves me the way Q loves you. I have to have a husband that cares about me, that won't do this, that won't do that. And I'm a firm believer that God was really in the midst of our meeting. So, what do you think, Q?
He's
so silly.
No, when I do share, and it's not often that I share my personal life and my personal experiences, but if anybody know me, I've never really, discussed marriage before with any other woman in my entire life. I never really met anyone that I wanted to call my wife, besides Sonya. Yes, because the thing about me is I always knew exactly what I wanted as far as a wife is concerned. And oftentimes I think people get married for all the wrong reasons. Even me and my wife, we've had this discussion in the past. Especially, I think more so women than men. I think women, because I think, marriage for women is just a fairy tale thing. And I think every woman just wants to be married, which causes a high percentage of divorce. When you get married for the wrong reasons and to the wrong person, then of course that's the way it's going to end. It ends up in divorce. And I know for me, I've always taken marriage very serious. And I never wanted to get married just to get divorced. So I think people need to definitely put a lot more thought into who they are marrying, because I think, like I said, most people get married just for the sake of being married, just to say that they're married to someone, and not necessarily thinking a lifetime, like being with this person for the rest of your life. I don't think a lot of people think that through. I think people need to really start considering that, because it's extremely important who you marry, because you're giving, you literally are becoming one. You're giving your everything to this person, and that person in turn gives everything to you. When I say everything. And like I said, it's just so many variables and so many factors that go into marriage that I don't think people consider that stuff. Like I said, I think they just mostly caught up in the idea of being married. And once again, I think especially for women, I think women just like the idea of being married, because I ain't gonna leave the men out either now. Most of the time with men, most of the time, this is most, not all, not 100%, but maybe 90% of the time. A lot of men get married. One of the number one reasons is they're pressured into it. A woman puts pressure on a man to marry her. Give him a time frame, a certain time or whatever, and they pressure the man into marrying them. And why would you want to marry a man that you have to pressure to marry you? That, to me, for me personally, that just doesn't make any sense. Because once again, if you pressure someone into doing something, they're going to do it reluctantly. And if they do it reluctantly, they're not doing it with excitement, with enjoyment, wholeheartedly. You know what I'm saying? They just doing it just to be doing it. It's like going to a terrible job that you hate every day. But of course, you go to work because you want to get paid. So you just go to work because you want to get a paycheck, because bills got to be paid. But you hate your job. So if you hate your job, you're not going to perform at your best. You're just there. Same thing with a marriage. You marry somebody, for the guys, reluctantly. I'm telling you, women, ladies. That's what you're going to get. And then that's when all the complaints come. All these complaints that he's not this, he's not that, he's not doing this, he's not doing that. Well, you married him. You decided to marry him and pressure him to marry him, because he was all those things before you married him. But, and you pressure him. But with guys, like I said, that's one of the reasons. The second reason why, to me, my opinion, most men get married is probably because of just physically, how the woman look. Most men want a dime piece. You know what I'm saying? They want somebody tight, work somebody fine, and she's a trophy piece on his arm. And a lot of guys will marry a woman just so no other man will have her, not because he's madly in love with her, now, because he don't want nobody else to have her. So he'll wife her just to try to lock her down or whatever. And to me, that's crazy. And then she's lacking so many other things. And now he complaining. She don't do this. You don't cook. You don't cook. And you know what you was marrying. But you married her. So for me and me and Sonya, me and my wife, I think we complement each other very well. And when I say complement each other very well, I just think that we are soulmates. And the reason I can tell, one of the reasons anyway, I can tell that, and she can contest to this, a lot of times we'll finish each other's sentences. You know what I'm saying? And we'll be thinking
the same thoughts.
Same thoughts.
At
the same time. And it's just so crazy. And it's often. I'm not talking every now and then. It's just so often that we do that. And it may sound cliche. It may sound, but to me, for me, I can speak for my wife, but for me, that means a lot because I've never had that before, ever. So that means a lot, and I can just go on and on about some other things or whatever as far as us being compatible. But yeah, I just, in my heart, I just truly feel that we are soulmates. I truly believe that this union that me and my wife have is divine intervention by God. It's just truly divine. And that's my thoughts.
Okay, so we'll probably do this in 2 sessions. We'll probably continue this next week because there's a lot I wanted to share about, number one, how we came together and how a blended family. Between us, we have 6 kids. We have 5 grandkids. We have his family here in Florida. We have my family all over the place, and we did that pretty well also. It's not easy, especially for me as a mother, having daughters, to bring anybody around that, and my kids will tell you, I would date a guy, but I would get in his car, we would go on our date, he couldn't come in my house, he couldn't hang out, spend time with my kids, and then the off chance a couple of times somebody did live with me, we lived in the same house, you're not babysitting for me, you're not watching the kids. I was serious about the mother role. My kids took precedence over anybody else in my life. Then I met Q, and his kids took precedence over anybody in his life. And that was new for me. That was new for a man to put his kids above all else except God. And spend quality time. And I really, really want to talk about that quality time with kids that so impressed me about Q. So I'll save that for next week. But I do want to say, I want to tell you guys a quick story. Some of you already know this and some don't. But I want to express how I second what Q said about God ordaining this relationship. So I just up and moved to Florida from Missouri. I just wanted a change of scenery. I had been out to Florida to speak, motivational speaker, and I thought it was beautiful. I'd never been to Florida. And I thought if I ever had the opportunity to move here, I would. Well, a friend I had for over 11 years invited me to come move out here, and I did. So I had met a young lady named Paula before that. And I'm thinking, well, it was a guy who invited me, and I was like, well, I've never really been attracted to this guy. He wasn't, but Paula had told me during our meeting, which I'll get into more in depth another time about Paula and how I met Paula. But when she knew I was here with this guy, she called me one day and said, oh, are you in a relationship? I was like, yeah. She said, oh, well, congratulations, good luck, and blah, blah, blah. So we talk. Now, I'm not one to Facebook my life. You can go through all my posts. I don't tell people when I'm sick, when I'm in the hospital, when my family's in the hospital. As a matter of fact, I'm the opposite. I walk away from social media, spend more time with God, and I'm there for my family. Q's the exact same way. So, after a few months, me and that guy, we didn't jive. I got, a place, and I was doing okay, got a job, stopped doing the things I was doing before, which is writing and motivational speaking. And I met Q on Black People Meet.
Yes.
Black People Meet. So everybody I met on Black People Meet, I made it clear, I'm not looking for a relationship. I'm new here. I don't know anybody. I just want to hang out and have a good time. I want to go shoot pool. I want to go to the movies. I want to go out and eat. So nobody was allowed to come to my house, and I would not come to your house. Wherever we decided to hang out, I would meet you there, and at the end of the evening, I would get in my car and go home. I told Q the same thing. I don't want a relationship, nothing. But right off the bat, it was different. I went to his house.
Macaroni.
Met him. We went on our date. We hung out until 4 a.m. talking. 4 a.m. in front of a body of water, which I love. The very next day, I got up, we went out again. The very next day, which was a Sunday, I cooked dinner for him at his house. So I've already broken my rule. I'm at his house cooking. Very first date, I got in his car. You know, it was just really different, but the conversation was a conversation I never had. I didn't post anything about Q. I didn't tell a single person about Q. I didn't have friends out here to tell people anything. But Paula calls me one day. We had been together, maybe a month? Maybe?
I don't know.
I was on my way to his house to see him after work, and Paula called me and said, "Hey, are you in a relationship? A new relationship?" And I was like, "What, are you stalking me?" Jokingly. And I was like, "Yeah, Paula, this is really weird. But yeah, I'm in a new relationship." And she said, "That's the one. That's who God sent you to be with, Sonya. That's going to be your husband." And it sent chills down my spine because, once again, I never told anybody about Q. Not one person. There wasn't a single post with him and I in it together. Not one. You know, it was still fairly new, and I knew I was feeling him because I don't think we had been one day without seeing each other still. We were together every day when we lived, maybe 25 minutes apart?
A little longer than that.
Yeah, he lived.
I lived in Miami Gardens.
Miami.
Yeah, and she lived in
Coral Springs. But every day we seen each other, we talked, we went on dates, and that sent chills down my spine. But what was really, really crazy is when I went to his house, and he came to the door to let me in, and we were talking. I don't know why we were talking outside. Do you remember this? And Q had told me in that same conversation, from the moment he met me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, from the moment he met me, he knew I was the one. And this is the same time Paula had told me he was the one. And that was it for me. That was it. It was just so ordained. And it was something I had never experienced, but it made me cry. And I'm not a crier, but later on, not in front of him, but later on it did. It touched me so spiritually. How God really is in the midst of so many things. But I do want to share with you guys at a future time about Paula, how I ended up in Florida because of Paula, the family, what really, really pushed me over the edge with Q and the way he is with his kids. And then just the encompassing way he is with children, period. And a lot of things, but doesn't mean we've always been up here. We fit here sometimes, right, and here sometimes.
Right.
But two things we've never done. We've never yelled at each other, never just argued, yell, raise our voice. And the second thing is, he's never called me anything out of my name, not once ever. Ever, ever, ever. I don't care what I say or do. It's always, the worst he's ever called me is Sonya. He called me Sonya. We got a problem. And ditto, I would never disrespect him. He's always been just a very strong man that you're going to respect. So I'm looking forward to next time. What else you got to say?
Excuse me. No, I mean, just, you know, basically, like I was saying to you guys earlier, I think people need to really date. People don't really date anymore. But I think people, when they meet, they really need to date and really get to know each other, especially if you have kids. Because once, you know, it's just so much, of course, that goes into that. You know, when you meet somebody and you have kids, you want that person to be a good example.
Positive.
Yeah, and a positive light and a positive example for your kids. So I think people need to pay attention as to how the other person is treating their kids. If it's a woman, you need to see how she's treating, you know, guys, for the guys out there, man, for y'all who meet these women, and you need to see how she treats her kids, how she take care of kids, things of that nature. That's important. And vice versa, of course. Women, you meeting these guys, you need to see how they're treating their kids. And how much time they're spending with their kids. Because, and I ain't trying to throw shade on dudes out there, but, just keeping it real, guys, man. A lot of times we use the excuse, oh, baby mama tripping. She won't let me see my kids, this and that. Listen, man, you really want to be in your kid's life? If you got to take it to court, if you got to do whatever it is you got to do, you're going to do what you have to do to make sure you're in your kid's life. So there is absolutely no excuses. No excuses as to why, us as men shouldn't play some kind of role in our kids' life. Like I say, we don't have to be dealing with the child's mother anymore. You don't have to. One of the main things is, guys, even if you're not dealing with your kid's mom anymore, guys, just take the high road. Take the high road, man, and it's some stuff, of course, that you got to deal with, put up with, or whatever the case may be with your kid's mom. But kind of take the high road, man, to try to keep the peace. You try to keep the peace. No matter what she got going on or what she's trying to do or whatever, you just try your best to keep the peace, because at the end of the day, it's all about the kids. It's not about you and the child's mom. It's not about you guys. It's about the kids at the end of the day. And the kids are watching.
Yeah,
they're paying attention, and they're watching how you guys interact with each other, how y'all acting towards each other. Because we all know at the end of the day, most kids don't go by what we say. Most kids go by what we do. So they go by what they see. So it's important that, my kid, one thing I can tell you, my kids can never tell you they seen me, acting crazy or getting crazy with my kid's mom. That's definitely something I just always try to protect my kids from, arguing, in front of them and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just real, I'm just real serious about that, protecting my kids, and it's important to me for them to see me be a man, and a father to them, and just a good husband. It's important that my kids see me in that light. That's always been important to me. So I think, like I say, for people who are going through stuff like that, the difficulties and the drama and the mom using the kids as a pawn, not wanting to let the child see the father and all that kind of stuff, and then and like I say, don't get me wrong, I know there's some guys out there will use a lot of stuff as an excuse as to why they're not taking care of their kids or why they can't see their kids. But at the same time, I definitely know it goes on, and it's just all that stuff. It really just needs to stop, and people really need to make it about what's best for the kids. So not couples, but two parents that's not together anymore, you guys need to come to some kind of terms, and do what's best and what's good for your kids. You definitely do. You need to do that. Because, man, I can't tell you, it's just me, the type of man I am. I just always loved my kids so much. I would do anything for them. Literally anything. So, with saying that, if a person say that and really mean that, then that means if I have to suck it up, suck my pride up sometimes, and not always trying to show the woman that, hey, you're trying me, or, I'm the man, or I got to puff my chest, or, I've been there, done that, I'm guilty of it too, guys. But, man, when I tell you what I learned from that, I'm going to tell you what I learned. I'm gonna give you a little spiritual game thing. What I learned from that is you definitely make the enemy extremely happy. You make the devil very happy. Men, I'm talking about men. Because what I found, and like I said, I'm getting a little spiritual now. Since day one, the enemy, the devil, uses women in so many ways. And I'm not putting women down or anything like that, but I'm just speaking facts.
You're just gonna call us devils.
No, you're not devils. But the devil know you guys are the weaker sex, and the devil know men are weak for women. So the devil continues to use women to do things. And what I had to learn that, even though I knew it growing up, but when you really just sit down and just really search for answers and just really have a good relationship with God, just a nice one-on-one. And like I said, and then know that you are a real man, that you a man's man, and not insecure about your manhood and who you are. I'm telling you guys out there, it's okay to just let her trip. Let her fuss. Let her do all that stuff. You know, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? You take a different approach. You keep your calm. You let her do all that, because one day she gonna get tired. She gonna get tired. Now, she ain't gonna never get tired if you continue to entertain that foolishness. You know, if you continue to entertain it, yeah, you continue to entertain it, her going off and her using the kids as a pawn for you not to see the kids, and always starting drama and always got something to say about your current relationship. If you just don't entertain that and just do a bunch of this, okay. All right. My wife.
No problem.
No problem.
That's what you say all the time.
My wife, no, that's my thing. No problem, sugar. No problem. Because I had to learn that. I really had to humble myself and learn. My wife will tell you, I ain't going back and forth. Y'all know that song? I ain't going back and forth with you. I'm living my best life. I ain't going back and forth with absolutely nobody, including my wife. I don't care who it is. I'm not doing the back and forth thing. I'm going to say what I got to say. She can tell you. I'm going to say what I got to say. And one thing about me, when I say something, especially if I mean it, I'm saying what I mean. I said it, and I meant it. Now, either you can receive it, or you don't have to. But if you don't want to receive it, guess what? No problem. No problem. No problem. That's my thing. No problem. You know what I'm saying? Even if my wife will tell you, if we may be having a conversation, we may pause a little bit on the conversation and pick up. If I see that conversation not going nowhere, you know what I'm saying? And then I see that even her, to this day, if I see she's kind of being like defiant or, you know, I mean, hey, no problem. Don't worry about it. No, we don't have to pick back up on that. Yeah, that's how I do it. Because to me, my opinion, I just rather be happy. I just want to be happy in my life, in my relationship with my wife. I just want happiness. And if I can see something getting ready to cause any type of confusion or anything, I'd rather just diffuse it right then and there. So.
But he's not telling you guys. A month later, y'all could be having the time of your life. And he gonna be like, yeah, remember?
Oh, yeah.
He gonna bring it back up. And you're gonna look at it. Well, I look at him like, really, that's gone, that's done. But in his mind, it's still there. Even though he said no problem, it was no problem for that day. But it's going to come back up if...
Well, what happens is I'll rehash something if it's relevant to what we're going through at that time. It has to be relevant as to what we're discussing or what we're going through. And then because the reason I'll bring it up and she may not understand or know this, but I have my reasons. One thing about me, I have a reason for doing any and everything that I do, because I'm a thinker. I think about everything I'm gonna say. I think about everything I'm gonna do, and I feel like, okay, if we could have finished that conversation, then I wouldn't have had to bring it back up. But because maybe we didn't finish it or didn't necessarily work it out, and then now some things have resurfaced or came up, then I'll definitely use something that took place or a conversation that we were having earlier on, to let her know, okay, well, remember, like she said, remember such and such and such and such. So I will do that, and not for negative purposes. Let me make that clear. I don't like to throw things up in my wife's face to make her feel bad about herself, or shooting shots and all that. That's not my thing. Any conversation I have with my wife, it's definitely all about trying to get some clarity and some understanding and trying to be uplifting. Always. Oh, and now I'm not saying that I'm always successful in doing that. You know what I'm saying? Because, hey, man, at the end of the day, she a woman. And, you might be saying, I don't know what it is about y'all women, baby, but you're saying one thing, they hear something else totally different. I don't know. But,
anyway.
But seriously, guys, like I said, I was talking to the guys before I got off track, guys, but just humble yourselves, man. Humble yourself. And like I say, for any kind of, we call it baby mama drama, giving you guys baby mama drama. And I'm talking about for the real men out there who really wants to be in their kids' life and want to take care of the kids and be a part of the kids' life. And the kid's mom or the baby mama is giving you guys a hard time, like I told you, just do a bunch of, okay, no problem. Because I promise you, she going to get to, I promise you, one day, she going to get tired. And because she's going to see that, you know what, all this I'm trying to do, all this, he's not even, he ain't studying me.
Not biting.
Yeah, he ain't biting. You go fishing, you put that line out there. If you ain't got no food on that line, ain't no fish gonna bite. And that's all. And that's what we do. We put food on the line when a woman be doing all that foolishness and and all this and that, and we put the food on the line. And I mean, she puts the food on the line. I'm sorry, guys, and we end up biting. But just stop entertaining it. Just stop entertaining it. And like I say, whatever measures you have to take, whatever steps you have to take, as far as getting, shared custody or mutual custody or whatever, do whatever you got to do. Like I say, whatever's best for the kids, and it's vice versa. Now it ain't just us, because there's a lot of women out there that have a baby daddy drama, which I never understood that. But there's some men out there, y'all know, there's some dudes out there that's on that foolishness like a woman. Y'all popping up to the house. Don't want the baby mama to move on with her life. Don't want her seeing nobody else. Telling her you don't want nobody else around your kids and you don't want no other dude around. All that craziness. So same thing go for you ladies. Just give him a bunch of, okay, no problem. All right, whatever. But do whatever you got to do. Filing, restraining, or whatever it is you got to do. So like I said, for the betterment of those kids. Do what you gotta do. Do whatever it is you gotta do. But for me, I ain't entertaining nobody's foolishness. Period. Point blank. Period. Miss Sonya.
All right, city girl. So I do want to end with two things because we went over time, but it was more than worth it for me. As I said, we don't rehearse. We don't sit around and talk, and Q had no idea what I wanted to talk about today. But I do want to continue this conversation because I think it's a great conversation. Mm-hmm. First thing I want to say is, ladies or gentlemen, if you meet somebody that has children and you don't have children, really think about the consequences of getting into a serious relationship with that person. Don't be selfish, because if that woman, that mother, or that man, that father is a true parent, they're going to have a relationship with the children's other parent. And so some people would not like that. They wouldn't be used to it. The time would be selfish because you have no children, so your time is dedicated to this one person. But that person's time is dedicated to their children, which means sometimes they have to deal with baby mama, baby father, baby mamas, baby fathers, and sometimes that family, the grandparents to the child, for the other parent, the aunts, the uncles, the other siblings. You know, it's bigger than that. You really have to think outside the box. You know, if I get into a relationship with this person, I've literally got to have a relationship with their children. And everybody that is intricately placed in that child's life. You might have to drop off at the grandma's house. You might have to pick up at the auntie's house. You want to do it with no attitude, but you know, it's a hard pill to swallow. If you have no kids, you might not understand. So that's something you really, really have to think and pray about.
That's true.
All right? And the second thing is absolutely be with somebody you're equally yoked with.
That's right.
You absolutely have to be. I'm going to tell you, I came down to do this video with my husband. I probably wear makeup once every 4 or 5 months. When I mean makeup, I mean makeup. You know, I'll put on mascara, but it doesn't matter. In my husband's eyes, beautiful. And that means the world to me, because sometimes when I'm feeling at my lowest and he doesn't know, just out of the blue, it's almost like God's touching him. Hey, say something. And he'll always say, you're absolutely gorgeous. And it's when I feel my absolute worth. He says it almost every day, but sometimes he'll say it like today. I ran down here and I thought, man, I can't find my Carmex, so I don't have nothing on my lips. I just blow dried my hair, so it has no form, nothing to it, but things like that don't bother him. It doesn't matter. But we're both extremely hardworking. We complement each other. We both love our kids. We both love our families. We both care about the house, the way it looks. You know, things bother us the same most of the time, but we both want to be here. Neither one of us wants to be, you know, down here and now I want to drag you down with me. And I'm so unhappy and I want you unhappy. I always tell people when they let somebody bother them, you know, did they bring you joy? Because if they didn't bring you joy, why are you letting them take it away? Husband brings me a lot of joy, and he makes sure to deposit more joy in my life and not take my joy away. And if I tell him something bothered me that he does or says, even if he doesn't understand why it bothered me, he'll automatically say, I apologize for it bothering me. You know, it's not, oh, I'm so sorry. It's, you know, I'm so sorry that bothered you, because I would never want to hurt your feelings. So absolutely make sure you're with somebody who would never want to hurt you on purpose, who's equally yoked with you, and where your understanding meets their understanding. All right? I'm done.
All right. I'm done as well.
You're done as well?
Yeah.
All right. Well, once again, this is He Said, She Said with the McQueens, and this is the love and life of the McQueens. We'll see you again next week.